Ladies and gentlemen, kusangana kwatikuita zvakare pachannel ino, channel yeZim Witness TV yandinodzoka nama-updates akasiyana-siyana, uye ndinoti kana kari kekutanga kusvika pano ndinokumbira kuti ungobaya button rekusubscribe, then turn on the notification bell kuitira kuti usarasikirwe neevery update yandinodzoka nayo pano nguva nenguva. Ladies and gentlemen, ndinokumbira kuti uone this video kusvika kwarinoperera. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm back again nenyaya ya Apostle Chiwenga explaining zvakaitika pa life ya Evangelist Muparinga, why vakabuda ku church kwa Prophet Ubert Angel. Evangelist Muparinga vakabuda mu church ma Prophet Ubert Angel mushure mekunge vaudzwa kuti God healed you, ausisina chirwere, and Apostle Chiwenga added kuti he is the one who helped and advised him to take his medication again. Apostle Chiwenga vataura ivo kuti Evangelist Muparinga was given anointing oil by Prophet Ubert Angel kuti mwana wavo akanga afa amuke, but mwana haana kumuka. But without wasting much of your time, I want you to listen to this sermon, then tell us what you think in the comment section. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. More updates are coming.
I want to thank you for bringing this one, because I think today also I have to do something I have refrained from doing for a number of years. I told Muparinga, stop being personal. Let's have a doctrinal argument. Don't talk about my life. Don't talk about my wife. Don't talk about my previous jobs where I worked for the central bank. First of all, it's a lie that I was retrenched. These people who masquerade as journalists are also shameless, because they are extremely unprofessional and extremely unethical. I think the reason why they continue to do this is because they know I'm not in Zimbabwe. I can't sue them for defamation because I am in exile based on political persecutions. But they are not journalists. I call these DJ Sparks pimps, people who abuse people in their productions, trying to create fights between people every time to get people to watch their content, and then earn a living from rogue content. Ethical journalism is when, after interviewing Muparinga about me, they then come to me and say, what do you say about what Muparinga said? Or to say to Muparinga, stop talking about Apostle Chiwenga. Let us invite both of you. I can meet with Muparinga virtually, where Muparinga is in that studio and I'm on virtually on Zoom, and I'll address him. They've never asked us to respond to what Makandiwa says, or Magaya says, or this person says, or Muparinga says about me. They continue to invite Muparinga, talking about me all the time. And they must know that the time to pay also for this rubbish they call content shall come. We shall ask them to account for everything they said that was false against us in our absence. I was not retrenched by the RBZ. Go and look. You can. First Street is 300 meters from the RBZ. You could simply go and ask, can you tell us how many retrenchments we have done so far? And find out from the time I started preaching, when was the retrenchment done? I was a vice secretary of the Workers' Committee for the Central Bank. It's on record. I can't lie now. Because you can simply ask anyone who works there, because they can't say they don't know me if then I was there. And being the vice secretary of the Workers' Committee, according to the Labor Act, Chapter 2801, a retrenchment program has to be done when there is consensus between management and the workers. And that consensus is made or done when there's a collective bargaining agreement between management and the workers' committee. So we negotiated the retrenchment that was done in 2011. RBZ did retrenchment in 2011. I resigned in July 2012. So my resignation happened a year after the retrenchment was done. Now, I can't change history. Number one, if there are records of employees and salaries, people can go and check. Number two, people could also check, when was I not employed anymore? When did I start to feature at Gomba to preach versus when I was working? We retrenched in 2011. I am one of the people who fought long battles with Gono to give employees a better retrenchment package. The Minister of Labor was Minister Paulina Mpariwa at that time. You understand? And the government wanted to give people a very, very useless package. We rejected it until we went to court with the central bank. If for your own information, we ended up being summoned by the Deputy Prime Minister that we were fighting Gono because of that argument. It was a long battle. It lasted more than a year. The governor wanted to retrench in 2010. We fought him from there until 2011. And then the people were retrenched. And I remained in the bank. I resigned. It's a lie. Muparinga is lying that I was retrenched. Now, if these journalists were ethical, they could have asked him, are you sure, number one, that he was retrenched? Because they don't like me. You know why they invite Muparinga? These people hate me. They want to bring everyone who hates me to, and they are being sponsored by Makandiwa, including Zigo. They are being sponsored by Makandiwa to fight me so that there's a lot of content trafficking on the internet against me because they have lost a lot through our messages. Makandiwa has lost members and a lot of money. People no longer go to the Life Haven because of me. Makandiwa is no longer selling wristbands because of me. So we literally got Makandiwa broke. We cut his budget to size because of our message. This is why he's paying these rogue people masquerading as journalists like Zigo and this guy called DJ Ola and this other guy called Sparks to convene interviews with people who hate me in my absence and never look for my own reaction to what they are saying. This is not journalism. And this is why Ola was arrested a few days ago because of unethical journalism. And more of them shall face the music when the time comes. You don't allow someone to bring defamatory statements on public, on air, without stopping him or without looking for evidence to corroborate what he is saying. It's a lie. I was never retrenched by the central bank. I've never been retrenched my entire life. I said it a few days ago.
Yes.
It's not a lie. Now, I want Muparinga to leave me alone. Stop talking about my problems with the state. Stop claiming that you know what I was doing. He doesn't know what I was doing.
Yes.
He comes up with a lot of suppositions. Now, let me tell you two things that cause Muparinga to hate me. Muparinga hates me to the core because I stole his prominence from street preaching. But I didn't replace Muparinga. Because if people believed that he was a man of God, then I never asked anyone, stop listening to Muparinga, listen to me. People stopped following Muparinga because they were attracted to my message. I don't insult people. I rebuke people. I expose people. Muparinga is a school dropout, a dunderhead. He does not know the difference between exposure and insults. Calling you a false preacher is not an insult. It is simply a description which, if you are against, you can defend yourself by whatever you want to do. Calling him a dunderhead is also not an insult. It's true. He says it himself. I did not go to school. I failed the school all level. What does that mean? It means I'm a dunderhead. So if Muparinga tells us he's a dunderhead, we call him a dunderhead. How does that become an insult? He's a dunderhead. He doesn't remember what he said. But you must understand also that Muparinga is a troubled soul, a seriously troubled soul. Because what Muparinga did, and this is what I want him to listen to, it's again a sign that if I want to have a personal brawl with him, I have the capacity to do that. Since 2019, Muparinga has attacked me personally, and I've continued to warn him. He has refused to listen. What Muparinga did is in 2009, when?
2009.
In 2009 and 2010, Muparinga came to Gomba. I used to come to Gomba not to listen to Muparinga. I listened to a lot of charlatans. There was Muparinga, there was Numga, there was that brother from End Time Message, there was Shadrach, there was Chambwera, there was Matema, there was Kazarira, there was Gapa. Who else was there? These are the people I found preaching at First Street. I know everyone's message. So what we would do is we would go into town, do some window shopping or some shopping, so do some transacting outside work. And before lunchtime is over, we would pass through Gomba. The lunchtime was like drama. You know, the end time message, people preached in English, one interpreting and with a lot of gestures and all that. And that's how I ended up knowing Muparinga. I wasn't going to Gomba kunona Muparinga. There were many preachers at Gomba. I did not know the true gospel then. But when I then started preaching around 2013, there was a time when Muparinga came and said, look, it happened around 2011, 2012. Because what happened is in 2013, that's when Muparinga got sick. In 2011, 2012, I was still coming to Gomba. Muparinga came and preached. He preached that he has found a God that heals. He said I was HIV positive and God healed me. We believed it. You understand? I didn't know him personally. Contrary to what he is saying, when I was still working, I only knew him as a street preacher. We never had a personal relationship. I came to Gomba, listened to whoever was preaching. If I wanted to give my offerings in ignorance, I gave them, including himself. There was nothing personal. Muparinga never came to my house. I never went to Muparinga's house. So there's no personal relationship between me and him. It's a lie. In 2011, 2012, Muparinga preached. Every time he preached, he said, I was HIV positive. God healed me. Now I'm free because I was healed by God through the man of God, Ubert Angel. He preached that. It was not a personal conversation. He preached about him being healed by God, so I can pray for you and God will heal you. So we said, well, glory to God. You understand? Come 2013, we started preaching. He wasn't happy about it. because we had to ask for time. And they were sharing time in that time, the three of them, Chambwera, Matema, and Muparinga. I asked for time. They refused to create time during the day, so they ended up giving me evening time, which started around 4. I had to buy lights and generator to preach because it was going to get dark and I needed to record. But because people would come from work after 5, what happened is I started having more people than them. Then they said, let's rotate. Let's rotate. This week you preach 4 to 5, and then next week we get that chance. We did that for a couple of times, and each time I switched, people changed their time. They also came the time I was preaching. So it was clear that more people were coming to me than when they are coming to him. And he said he's leaving Gomba. He started preaching at Julius Nyerere there. There was a place he founded for himself. It didn't work. He had to come back to Gomba because he thought he was going to have more people following him. Not more people followed him. So he came back and he started to say, give me time. I refused. He tried to bully me. I refused to be bullied. And it was embarrassing. A lot of things happened. But I'm saying this for you to know that in 2014, Muparinga got sick because of his preaching that he was healed of HIV. He stopped taking his medicine. It was me and other people who sat down. I think if you still remember, there was a time when Muparinga was not preaching for about 4 or 5 months, and he was walking with a cape on his head. He had developed Bundu Pamanza, and it wasn't looking good. I am one of the people who asked Dikazarira to persuade Muparinga to take his medicine. He almost died by defaulting on his medication, having been deceived by Ubert angel that he was now healed. Muparinga could have died if isusu vaparidze pagomba dai tisina kuita dare rekuti imi vanakazarira imi muri closer kuna Muparinga kudarika isusu. Mukomana ari kurwara, onai kusviba kwaaita, onai mapundu aaita. Mapundu ana Muparinga aya akadefaulta mishonga muna 2013 and 2014. Abhilivhiswa kuti ava HIV negative. We sat down and came up with a committee to go and talk to him. If this man called Kazarira is still alive, he lived in Epworth, we used to preach together. He can confirm this conversation. It happened. And this is why he ended up resuming on his medication. We said to him, well, did you go for testing to prove that what the prophet said is true? He couldn't answer that. Go and get tested. If you are still sick, tora mishonga azvinyadzise. So these are some of the things that we have done for Muparinga to save his life. He was so naive that he was made to believe that he is sick. He is no longer sick. To the extent that he stopped taking his medication, we helped him kuti ngatidzokere tinonwa mishonga. Azvikutadzise kuparidza zvekunwa mishonga. So Muparinga resumed his medicines and Muparinga got better. Ndopa akazobvisa KPI. Akatanga kuparidza. Bose bundu ranga inyarura arisingaiti rarakakura kudai. Saka aifamba akavhara mhanza nebundu ranga riri pa. Zvandiri kutaura izvo ndo zvakaurayisa mwana waMuparinga mukomana. He stopped taking his medication and infected his child. And when Muparinga's son died, Muparinga came to us. I was at Gomba. He said, these guys are terrible. I said, which guys? But you know what? I was trying to comfort him. I sat down with him. He can't deny that. I said to him, look, I was looking for you. I couldn't get it through. I wanted to come to your house to say my condolences over the loss of your son. He said, well, when we buried my son, I was heartbroken. I actually decided not to preach at all. What happened to you? Muparinga said, when my son was extremely sick to the point of death, Ubert Angel gave me oil and said, even if the child dies, this oil will resurrect him. So Muparinga was given oil by Ubert Angel to resurrect his dead son. According to Muparinga, he applied this oil several times when the child had already died. The child did not wake up. The child did not resurrect. Zvandataura izvi ndo zvakaburitsa Muparinga kuchechi kwaUbert Angel. Muparinga joined Ubert Angel's church because Ubert Angel donated 4 suits to him, which he bought in 4 May. And he appeared on H Metro, a prophet, as blessed a street preacher with the suits. From the day Muparinga received the suits, he became a member of Angel's church. He used to come wearing a t-shirt with Guti's picture there because Muparinga was a member of Zayoja. He left Zayoja because of suits and joined Ubert Angel. When Angel ran away from Zimbabwe because of these scandals, and because of this scandal, Muparinga was heartbroken. That's how Muparinga left Ubert Angel's church. Ask him why he is no longer a son of Ubert Angel. From a spiritual son of Guti to a spiritual son of Ubert Angel, it took him 4 suits and an iPad. These are the things that Ubert Angel gave him. And one day Muparinga comes to me and says, in this iPad, there are many books that I was given by the prophet. But this book is surprising me that it's in the iPad from the man of God. Do you know what the title of that book was? It was titled, How to Use Hypnosis in Church. And in one of the titles in the topics, where it was a title on how to deceive church members to make money. So Muparinga wanted advice from me. What should I do with this book? I said, delete it. Do you want to learn how to use hypnosis to deceive people in church? These are the books Muparinga got from Angel as a gift. So Muparinga is a confused soul who has no identity, a spiritual identity. He follows the wind like a small bird. 4 suits and an iPad was what his soul costed to leave Zayoja and go to Ubert Angel. What led him to leave Ubert Angel was what Angel did when his son died. He was very angry. How could he give me oil? I thought my son was going to live, and it didn't happen. And when I told him it didn't happen, he simply said, believe with God, nothing is impossible. So this is the story of Muparinga. I know more about him than he know about me. Ask him what happened to the Avondale house, which he walked around claiming Angel had bought him. It's a fraud institution, the charlatan institution. So when you talk to Muparinga, you are not talking to an evangelist. You are not talking to a man of God. You are talking to someone who is a motivational speaker, but masquerading as an evangelist. I have 3 questions to Muparinga. Number 1, did you return the books that you received from Angel, among which were certain books teaching you on how to deceive people to make money? Let him deny it, that he never said that. Let him deny it that he didn't have that book in that iPad. And semuna angas na ake kunyatsodzidzawo zvake iPad yo yamita mesmerize pese paifamba naye takapuwa iPad na Angel. And he was not happy because he said, Angel is stealing my sermons and preaching them in church, but he's not allowing me to preach. He was never allowed to preach by Angel. I think he was given a chance to preach once or twice and a few minutes. So when you talk to me about Muparinga, you're talking to me about someone that I know he has no substance. Because the reason why you flip-flop from one doctrine to that one, from a son of Guti to Ubert Angel, now he has walked away from Angel because he was duped, he was defrauded, he was misled. He doesn't want to talk about Ubert Angel, who has actually harmed him. I didn't do anything to Muparinga. I simply preached the true gospel and told him that your message is flawed. This is not the message of God. And he so much loves to talk about my deceased wife, my former job. He preached on Gomba and said the reason why God punished me by killing my wife is because I talked about the mighty man of God, Ezekiel Guti. I was there in my car. He didn't see me. And I responded as soon as he left the podium. And I asked him, so who did you insult yourself when you lost your own son? And now I could ask him as well, who did Guti insult for him to die? Who did Guti's son insult for him to drown in a swimming pool? He tried to rub salt on my wound that I lost my wife because I was criticizing Guti. And I asked him, kuti akafirwa nemwana akawira muswimming pool akazvarwa ari chirema, akanga atukani Guti kuti azvare chirema? Guti akatukani kuti mwana wake awire muswimming pool? Kwewe mwana wako zvaakafa wakatukani? Don't use death to square a grudge. It's not good. If you want to talk about me, Muparinga, let's talk about the substance of my message. My message is as simple. The whole Bible talks about Jesus Christ. Salvation is not for sale. You don't need to give a man of God money for God to make you a millionaire. Number 3, healing is not for sale. There's no special man of God with a special anointing to heal. It is God who allows anyone to get healed if believers lay their hands. Even believers who are not pastors can pray for people, they can get healed. Ubert Angel is a thief. I preached about that in 2015 when Muparinga left Guti and Izayoja to submit under Ubert Angel. Muparinga aipfugama akaona Angel auya pagomba. Aipfugama so, to bless me, man of God. But he cried and said I was misled by Ubert Angel. I lost my son. But the reason why he lost his son is he believed he was HIV negative. Stopped taking his medicine. We helped him to start his medicine. Now this is just a warning once again. Leave me alone, Muparinga. Let's talk about Jesus. Let's talk about scriptures. Whether I worked in a mine or on top of a tree, it doesn't change anything.
Yes.
The message is not about Chiwenga. It's about the true message of Christ.
Yes.
And it's not true that our message is only centered on who is preaching a false message. That's not all that we preach. It's called blotting matters to create an argument. We have a library of sermons that Muparinga cannot preach even if he's given 2 lifetimes, where we preach a solid message.
Yes.
But we will not stop calling you a charlatan because you are a charlatan. You understand? So it's true that we will continue to expose charlatans. But that's the only message we have. It's not true. We have a library, a mine full of gems. Ask any message, any concept of the gospel. We have a sermon about it.
Yes.
But how can you discuss matters of the gospel with journalists? You tell journalists that Chiwenga only tells us who is wrong and who is wrong and who is wrong, It's like giving announcements. How can you bring a doctrinal argument to journalists? What does Ola 7 know about the doctrine? What does DJ Spark know about gospel? What does Zigo know about the sound doctrine? He doesn't know anything. So ukaenda kuvanhu vasingazive nyaya yauri kutaura, vanobvuma zvese zvauri kutaura. Muparinga runs away from me. He goes to journalists to talk about my message. Why don't we meet and exchange arguments in public and see who knows the true gospel or who doesn't?
Yes.
Unaenda kuma journalist ndisipo onodiscussa inini. Vanhu voti Muparinga is a true man of God. When we expose Muparinga, we do so with the scriptures. He doesn't even open one scripture. A few weeks ago, he said, Jesus stole a donkey. And we said it's not true. Jesus never borrowed a donkey and refused to pay back, which is theft by borrowing. We said that. Instead of addressing the substance of our argument, he went kwagutu akarekoda video akati Mwari ari kundikomborera. What does that mean? So my point is, everything zvandataura pamusoro paMuparinga hapana kana one chekunyepa, because Muparinga is a non-entity when it comes to doctrinal issues. There is nothing to envy about Muparinga. Yes. And therefore we have no reason to hate him. Hapana chandakabirwa naMuparinga kana chandakatorerwa kana chaainacho chandinoshuvira kuwana. Muparinga started churches 3 times in his life. He launched his church 3 times and failed. JRM was started once, is still thriving and rising and growing. You understand? So we have nothing to envy about Muparinga. We are successful. We are happy. We went to Gomba where he was there for more than 5 years. Within a few years, we overtook them. We now have a vibrant institution from the streets. They can never dream of becoming where we are or who we are. Because we are organized, we are blessed, we are preaching the true message.
Yes.
When we talk about him, we have no feelings. It's only about misleading people from the path of righteousness. So let him continue to be hired by useless churches, aenda ku Methodist, aenda kwakati. We don't need an invitation. We have a congregation. Izvezvi ndikabuda izvezvi ndokwanisa kuenda ku South Africa. Ndonoita 3 months ndodzoka ndisina kupedza kuvhizita maassemblies edu. Ndikabuda ndikaenda kana ku USA kana ku UK ndonoita futi dzimwe 3 months. I don't need an invitation from another church. We already have a lot of congregations ourselves. Izvozvo ndo zvandakavengerwa naMuparinga izvozvo. Ndakasvika Muparinga achiparidza nemuromo. Nanhasi Muparinga anoparidza nemuromo. Katomona akabata speaker kana maiki svinu akokwa. Imaiki yekuti achingopedza anodzosera varidzi vayo. Tasaimone bhutsi yakapfekwa naMuparinga kuti ndokuti kudii ikoko. Atonge neighborhood watch ari kupatrola mulocation yevanhu. What can I envy about such a man who doesn't even know how to dress? He doesn't know how to talk. He doesn't know how to read the Bible. So this is my response, brethren Nyaradzo. It's a warning to Muparinga that let him stop talking about my personal life. I don't have to talk about his personal life. Let the battleground be the Bible, the Holy Scriptures, and let's end there.
Yes.
Dai asina kudhivhota mapiritsi ake, dai atori nani, pamwe izvezvi kurwara kwake kwakazopinda mumusoro. This is why he's obsessed with me. He can't do an interview without mentioning my name. But he must at least thank me, because when I was called to task to rescue a brother who has been brainwashed by a charlatan, we rescued him. There are so many people who stopped their medication because of these charlatans. Ubert Angel and Emmanuel Makandiwa have many graves to account for in Zimbabwe. People who were asked to stop their medication because they believe in the prophet. He almost lost his life in Muparinga because of Ubert Angel. Let him deny it and see where we'll go with this discussion. So the question I want to ask you, Brethren Nyaradzo, how does a man of God bring a testimony that he was healed by a prophet without testing himself? And he almost loses his life until we had to rescue him. I'm trying to show you how his brain works. You understand? Because if Muparinga believed he was healed, it was simple. He would go to the New Start Center, get tested. Look at him now. You can see the evidence of what I'm talking about. Let him deny it, and we can resume this conversation further.